Oh, how fun. Um, all right, y'all. I am live. I told you I was gonna go live this morning, and here I am. This is day 11 of equitable grading. And equitable grading is based off of chapter 8 from my Equity Builds Expertise book. Chapter 8, Real Numbers for Real Knowledge. Strategy 8 talks about implementing equitable grading. And what I did was I actually created a planner that can help you think through and do the reflection work and then create some of the strategies that you need to incorporate more equitable practices into your classroom systems. And today we are beginning a new section because now we're on day 11. And this section is focused on reducing the influence of external factors in your grades. And the goal here is to minimize the external biases and circumstances that sometimes can affect our grades. All right, so let's get into it. The quote for today is that fairness does not mean everyone gets the same. Fairness means that everyone gets what they need. Okay? An important quote, an extremely important quote for us to really dig into. I also am completely aware of the fact that this may be controversial for some and hard for some, mainly because when we talk about equitable grading and when we talk about ensuring that we are engaging in those practices that are going to be fair for students, we sometimes forget that we can weaponize grades, right? Grading should be a tool for growth and not a weapon for compliance. So, too often, our systems unintentionally punish students for mistakes instead of rewarding persistence and effort. So, the question I'm going to ask for you to really reflect on is, does your grading system encourage students to keep learning? Or does it actually shut the door when they stumble? I'm pausing there because I think that this is a question that we all need to ask ourselves. I remember having those grades and having part of my grading system a level of punishment, which then told students that you either do it now and do it right or accept the consequence. And unfortunately, that's not building student self efficacy in my class, but it's also letting them know that that's it. If you don't get it right the first time, you don't get it perfectly done or understand it the first time, then oh well, that's your fault. That's something that you should be punished for. So here again are some of the things that you should be thinking about, right? Do your systems reward learning or punish mistakes? So when a student turns in something late, for example, right, does your policy push them to try again, or does it label them as being behind forever? When a student struggles on the first attempt, do they have meaningful opportunities to show growth later? Do your grading categories highlight improvement and mastery, or do they reinforce some of the gaps? I realized, this is a while ago, but I realized that deductions for late work actually discouraged students from trying again. And it didn't motivate them to keep learning. And it wound up sending this message to them that they're already too far behind. And I would say that a better approach might be to actually track deadlines, right? Track the deadlines as feedback. So they didn't turn it in, you're keeping track of that, but you want to allow them to resubmit for full or partial credit based on mastery. Why? Because you want them to actually try the work. You want them to attempt. You need that information so then you know how you should show up as their supportive educator the next day. So here's what I want you to do. Here's how you're going to take some actions towards being more equitable in this space. I want you to first list out your current grading policies and evaluate their intent, right? Evaluate why this policy exists. Policy or practice, right? Example, do you have late work deductions? Do you have participation points? Do you have extra credits? So you're listing those things out. Then you want to list the intended purpose, as I said, right? Why did you create that policy? And really dig into the why, right? Why? Because students consistently turn in work late. Yes. Why do you want to have that part of the grade? Really dig in. Keep asking the why. Think of those like 5 whys, right? Then actual impact. How does it affect student motivation, equity, or mastery? All right, so that's the next level that you're going to look at. And then the last is adjustments needed, right? How could you reframe this? How can you reframe it in a way that's going to reward learning over punishment? So focusing on creating a system that rewards effort, growth, and persistence rather than punishing mistakes, that's the goal that we're aiming for. Because when students see that grades reflect their learning journey and not their compliance with rules, you will be surprised, but they will be more willing to take risks and to keep trying in your class. And as I always end, as a reminder that every grade tells a story. So let's make sure that we're making it one worth telling. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you find this valuable and useful. And the next 10 days, we'll be digging into this section on reducing the influence of external factors in your grades. All right. Have a good evening.